Hello. My presentation is Rex versus the Romans. Rex is one of my dogs. The Romans is a king team. And as you can see, they are fearless fighters of the internet. And so let's hunt them. Just a political disclaimer. I'm not against these kind of tools if they are correctly used to hunt the bad guys. And the problem is that we have no idea who is using these tools, so I'm against them by principle on this. On history tells us that power is abused and you know the rest of the story. Who am I? I used it to work for Thomas Lim. One of these days I woke up and I had the great idea, I'm going to be a white hat. Boo! Stupid idea.
You're not leaving the country.
Okay, Fire, I asked me if I wanted to work here, so I'm okay. You know I like Singapore, so... Okay, so I'm trying to make your enterprise Macs more secure. Don't laugh. I'm not sure if this is going to be possible. And blah, 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 you already know me, hopefully. So, hacking team, who the fuck are you? The first version that I had here, it was a bit more aggressive. I talked to some people and they told me, okay, tone down a bit. And I told them, no, but I decided and took a few lines that were a bit more aggressive. The last two lines, or the last, they are unable to write a rootkit. At least I never saw something useful from them. And they are unable to write a packer. I was talking to Nicholas Brules, he did an awesome presentation at Recon, and he told me, that shit is shit. So all of the above, pretty sure. An introduction to the dropper, which is basically what they install after the exploit. They have some fun thing, at least I have 5 or 6 samples. They always install the binaries of the backdoors into that folder. Easy to detect. I have no idea why they do this. You can do in many different ways. It's delivered via exploits. We know about Flash, Word. Some people say about those evil guys of Vupen. I have no idea. That's not my area. I was still a black hat on that time, so I don't care. The size is usually less than 1 megabyte, so it's very small. In the latest versions, they decided to pack these with Empress. So, you know what? I'm impressed. This is my first Cocoa app. I decided, okay, let me write an unpacker. I just need to put the backdoor there, save, dump, and that's it. There goes the protection of the packer. I have no idea why they did that. So let's hunt the Romans. The first one is Trusted BSD. This is one of my favorite components in macOS. It's mandatory access control. It had origin in FreeBSD. It's the base technology used by Apple Sandbox, also iOS code signing. Basically, it has many hooks installed in very different places in the kernel. It's very interesting. We just need to register the callbacks, and you get the data from the kernel into your kernel extension. It's very fast, it's very stable, it doesn't require any hooking tricks, anything, so it's one of my favorite features of Apple. I'm going to bash Apple at the end because they want to close this stuff. One very interesting hook is the vnode check exec hook. It can allow you to check who is going to execute. So this is before execution. You want to execute a binary, this node, this hook is called, and you can do some stuff, some interesting stuff. It's the one used, for example, by iOS code signing to verify if the binary is code signing. You want to do this before execution, else bad things can happen, but they still happen. It's an opportunity to observe what is going to be executed on the machine, and optionally, you can make a decision to execute or to not execute. If you want to just observe, you always say execute. I don't care, I just want to take a peek of what's happening. This is the structure definition, the prototype of the function of this hook. That field, the VP, is the interesting one because it's the vnode that is going to be executed. You can get the path of the binary. You just need to use that function there. You can do manually reconstruct the vnode, get everything yourself, or you can use this function. This function has some comments.
Yes, just drink that. Just drink that.
going to end well. So if we find, when we want to execute the binary, we get the pass of the binary, and if successful, hey, 3. And if we have, or if hacking team is trying to execute their backdoor, we just need to match to the pass, and hello, it's hacking team trying to install some backdoor, because the clean system doesn't run binaries from that pass. And this is basically the trick that you use to detect a system that is already infected. Next one, okay, this is just a piece of code to get the pass to the vnode, just bullshit. Next feature, chaos. This is a kernel authorization framework, another feature of macOS that I really like it. It was introduced in Tiger, if I'm not mistaken. You have that technical note if you want to know more. It's the mechanism that Apple says if you want to build an AV, do this, use this interface. They have 4 built-in scopes to get the information. They have the process, which is basically useless, the generic, which is not even more useful. You have the file operation, which is good for getting notifications, but it's not very powerful. And you have the vnode, which is more powerful, but it has some problems about deadlocks and other stuff that you need to be careful. Just read the documentation, the technical note, they specify that stuff. For today, the file operation scope is enough, because I just want to get a notification of what is being written to the file system. You have many different actions. There's one which is chaos file up close. It notifies you when the file system, when you get a close on a file system object. The idea here is to detect the exploits of the dropper of hacking team writing to that past the binary. Nothing very complicated. How many? This is not.
Drink the water.
Be a hero. We are heroes now, you know, Chris Evans. Yay. Does it count one?
Go on.
1, 2, 3. The problem with this hook is that we get notified about with all close operations. This generates too much noise because it doesn't mean just open and read and close and write and whatever. We just want the ones related to writes. We want stuff to detect processes writing stuff to the file system. Apple are nice guys and they have a flag. This flag, chaos, file up, close, modified in the argument. It is set if the file modified, if the modified file is being closed. So if someone tries to write something to the file system, this flag is set and we can detect this. This is the prototype of this function of a listener that I installed. It's the arguments tool where the flag is. So the idea is we install a file listener, we ignore all the actions, we just want the close action. We analyze the ones that have that flag set because it means it's right. Then we can get the file size information from the vnode because it contains that information. We can read that information in the kernel. Just check my presentation last year. We have how to read files from the kernel. And we can verify if it's a macro file because all kind of data is written to the file system, but we just want binaries, macro binaries. If it's a macro binary, you just need to check, again, the path. If it matches US users, library users, whatever username you are using, library preferences. This is some bit of code to get the information from the vnode. You just want, basically, to get the size, so you know how to allocate the buffer and blah, 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 and get all the information. What are the conclusions? It's a very simple kernel extension. It compiles to 20K, I think. Probably with some optimization can be even smaller. It's very stable, fast, that it has minimal impact in the system. Trust me, I'm building a product and I know this is very stable, fast, and blah, blah, blah. Hey, one has to pay the bills. So unless hacking team changes the folder where they write stuff, This is an assumption. It detects every single version. So my idea is to release the tool and detect every single version of hacking team stuff. It's compatible. Send the next one. Those are rules.
Are you done? Are you done?
No.
You're not done.
No, of course not. I have to rant against Apple.
Where else?
Rules are rules, you know.
Rules are rules.
So it's compatible down to Snow Leopard. Probably you can use with Tiger. I'm not sure if Trusted BSD was implemented in Tiger. I think not. It was just Snow Leopard. I just care with Mountain Lion and Mavericks, but you can work with Snow Leopard. There's a false positive issue because we are just matching that path. It's not the best heuristic. I can tell you I have more advanced stuff, but it's proprietary from the company, blah, 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 so I cannot give it up. But it's not that difficult to detect hacking team stuff. There's also the AV Monster proof of concept that I released like 2 years ago or whatever, which basically attacks the chaos. I released, I think last week, some blog post attacking Trusted BSD. So if you have a kernel exploit, you have some problems with this because you can overwrite 1 byte or 2 bytes and disable these systems. So be careful with this assumption. Now the rant against Apple. I hope it's worth the last five shots of whiskey. The code signing, Apple introduced it in Mavericks, code signing, mandatory code signing for the kernel extensions. It's still not mandatory, but you get a warning. Last year I presented how to kill that warning, but it's annoying if you want to release a public tool. I'm not sure what is the idea. They must be afraid of kernel rootkits, or they just want to close access to the kernel. This is I think, the official excuse. People create kernel extensions. Do not get into the kernel. This is one of the official notes or some stuff they publish on email. Do not get in the kernel. The kernel is the closed area. You don't know what you are doing. Do not get there. At least I am lucky because I have a company that got the certificate, so I can play with this stuff. I want to release a binary tool. Maybe I will spend the $99 and make the request, and Apple will give me the certificate so I can release the tool to the public. The other rant is against Trusted BSD. If you compile a kernel extension with the SDK for Mavericks, and they get a warning. Warning, this stuff is not for you to use. It's going to get closed on the next version. I have no idea why, because Trusted BSD is one of the best features that they ported to macOS. I hope they get back on that decision, because you can build very interesting stuff on this, and it's very stable on the system. Be careful with assumptions. This presentation, as usual, has a few. Question them. You can work around. It's always a circle game. You assume something. You protect that, and there is another assumption. So be careful with this stuff. Always question your assumptions. Greetings, you, for listening to me, and the Godfather, Mr. Thomas Lim. It was a pleasure working with you, and you are a great friend and everything. Hey, no more!
What, do you want to go on?
Huh?
You want to go on?
No, yeah, it's the last one.
I'll give you the last slide.
Yay, for free. This
I'll
is
give
my
you the last
contact
slide.
information.
I'll give you the last slide.
You have my blog, you have the GitHub. I'm going to publish the code for this when I arrive home, which is Monday or Tuesday. You have my email. Feel free to annoy me, ask questions. If I don't answer, as usual, in a week or something, send again and send this time. Reply my email, because if I don't reply in a day or two, it goes to the queue and I get more interesting stuff to do. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's my Twitter. Probably you should not follow me and Meowbiz, because we start trolling and you will get a lot of noise. So probably you should select between me and Meowbiz. I don't recommend you to select both. That's it.